Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a new series on the Chess Bootcamp channel. This is the Pawn Addict support group, and I'm your host, Hugh Anchor. Okay, I couldn't put this in punishing dumbass openings, but it really did. It deserves a category of its own. It's a very strange game, actually, and bizarrely, the engine doesn't think that my opponent played too badly. But anyway, it's a 5-minute blitz game. I've got the white pieces. I start with e4. We have a Scandi. I play the Black Mar Gambit. Now, interestingly enough, this can very easily transpose into a French, or it can transpose into a Caro-Kann. But you've got to think that if your opponent plays e6, which is the French, or c6, which is the Caro-Kann, they're not French or Caro-Kann players anyway. But it's kind of by the by because he takes. Okay, I play knight c3. This is now the Black Mar Gambit. And we have pawn to e6. Just giving up the pawn. The only move here for white is to take the pawn. Thank you very much indeed. Okay, so now we're equal. But I've got a horse lodged firmly in the centre of the board. And what would you do here as black? Of course, push a pawn. And this is now turned into the Rubinstein French, apparently. So there you go. Yeah, so he pushes a pawn. Because he's, his knight might want to go to that square, but it might not. So, why not push a pawn? To support, I don't know, at all. Okay, so I develop a piece because I like principles, right? And he pushes a6. There you go. So I'm already starting to think we've got a pawn addict on our hands, right? Bishop d3. This pawn is defended by the knight. I'm getting my bishop off the mark. I don't see any point putting him here, staring down these pawns. We do that in the Smith-Morra, but I thought it was okay. And of course h6. Go figure. Okay, white castles. And interestingly enough, it's only got white as less than one pawn better after knight f6. But he doesn't play knight f6, he plays another pawn out, b5. Why not? Okay, I've finished developing my minor pieces, and finally he decides to move one of his bits. Okay. Now I spy quite a nice little kind of outpost here for my knight on c5. And I figure if he wants to trade his bishop, I'll recapture with the pawn, open up the centre of the board. I'm castled, he's not, why not? Right? He doesn't do that, he moves his queen instead. And so now I bring in my second knight. Now I've got both my horses in my opponent's paddock. And he's woefully behind in development. The engine here has us like 2.3 in front. He now needs to play knight f6. Well done, he does, he finds it. Okay, knight f6. And now, this one, I can't figure this out at all, right? The engine says the best move here for white is the move bishop g6. F takes g6. And then we don't recapture with the knight hitting the rook. Oh no. We move our queen up to d3. Now for the life of me, buggered if I can work out why we would just give up a knight. But I mean, I don't know. I guess we open up his pawns. With queen here, we're threatening to take there. And then come in here and it's like the end of the game. But how many humans would see that? Anyway, that's not what I do. I play my queen to d2. This is not a good move, apparently. Rook e1 was good. Queen f3 here was good. Queen d2, I'm just kind of hedging my bets a little bit here. He develops a bishop. I centralise my rook. He brings out a knight. Okay, so I'm attacking that obviously twice. It's defended actually 3 times. But we trade off all the same and I centralise my other rook. Now it's got us absolutely even. Absolutely even. So he brings his knight up to f6. I solidify my pawn structure in a kind of a Caro-Kann kind of a way. And it's got us even again. He pushes a pawn up the board because why not? Let's push a pawn up the board. I'm attacking this pawn twice. So I've got pawn and bishop. He's defending it twice with bishop and queen. But I decide to take. Bishop takes. And now I drop this bishop back, might have ideas of coming in here. If I take this and this, you never know, but the knight does guard d7, so. Okay, now he trades bishops, and it says that here I should take with the queen, slightly better with the queen. But I thought, let's get a rook off the mark. He still isn't castled, so I'm thinking about, this rook lift being quite useful, so we have rook g3. He pushes another pawn, and now it's nearly +2 for white. Okay, we have queen d4. Engine thinks that's not absolutely brilliant, but obviously we're setting up a discovery on the rook. Rook moves out of the way, and now I play a4 because I figure if he wants to take, I'll recapture with the bishop with check, and we're starting to close the net, right? He brings his bishop there. I trade off, and now I play bishop e4. Take on the queen, hit the queen again, queen moves back, and here I take the knight, right? So basically, with this move, after queen takes, he's just walked into a pawn fork. There's nothing he can... He actually thought for a while on that move as well, at 22 seconds. I win the knight, he decides to trade off, and then here, what would you do? Right, this is looking a little bit scary, right? My bishop's under attack. If I drop my bishop back here, it could be hit again, and it's got nowhere to go. The bishop's the only defender of the rook. So let's go to the source and move the rook, right? With check, upping the danger levels, as Levy would say. And here I've got actually lots of options. I've got rook d3 is the best move. Dropping the bishop back to c2. I could also, in theory, win this pawn. I do play rook d3, best move. And here again, many options, right? We've got rook c5 check, after which probably the king would go to b6. I couldn't quite figure out, but I figure I'm in a winning position. I'm going to want to move my bishop at some point soon, so I decide to trade off. He takes back, and I'd already seen that I had bishop back to c2, guarding the back rank checkmating square. And we have the rook comes in, I give check, he comes here, drop the rook back. So now the rook's defended, the bishop's defended, and we're doing okay. Slide my king across to pressurize the rook, and he comes back here, and now we're going to force everything off, and black resigns. So, I mean, it's not an absolute tragedy in terms of a case study for pushing your pawns up the board, but yeah, I thought it was an interesting game all the same. And so, yeah, if I come across any more pawn addicts, I shall expose them. Thank you for joining me today. My name is Hugh Anchor, and this has been the Pawn Addicts Support Club, or group, or network. See you later.